It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso as we continue to congratulate our matriculants. Let's look at some of those that have done just so unbelievably well. The matric results set to be released this morning, whilst many are understandably very nervous. A few can rest easy. That's because they have already been notified of how well they have done. I'm talking about Sinazo Mtetwa from Saheti School in Bedfordview, Johannesburg, who achieved an average of 90.1% and a full house of 8 distinctions. She was also named a commendable achiever by the Independent Examinations Board. Then we've also got George Georgiadis, who achieved 9 distinctions and has been named an outstanding achiever by the IEB. And then last but certainly not least, Sophia Ferretti, who achieved a whopping 10 distinctions and 100% for mathematics. 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, can I get a resounding round of applause for our incredible achievers this morning? I hope you're going to let it all sink in. I'm going to ask this question to all of you, in fact, and maybe, Sinazi, you can kick us off. Now that it's all done and dusted, at least this phase of life, how are you guys feeling about your amazing accomplishments? Let's start with you, Sinazo.
Well, at first I wasn't expecting to do so well, so there's just a mixture of emotion here. At first it was just shock, now it's relief and excitement. So that's how I'm feeling.
All perfectly understandable. George, how are you feeling, bud?
No, excited. Very, very, I mean, it was very surreal at first. Now it's kind of set in and I'm like, oh, wow, I've actually surpassed all my goals and for the whole past 12 years. So now I've got to replan, restructure, but very excited.
And what a way, what an opportunity to refocus your efforts now, and we'll get into that in a moment. Sophia, did you expect to do as well as you did?
It definitely was a little bit of a shock, but I'm very relieved to see that my efforts were rewarded at the end of the day.
So what was the goal, Sophia? What did you actually set out to achieve in 2020? Did you have that kind of goal in mind to say, okay, I'm gonna literally crack the top 10 in the country? What was the initial drive behind starting a very difficult year, it must be said?
Well, I did hope to achieve distinctions in all my subjects, although I did anticipate that there was going to be a great deal of work to come. I hope to enjoy netball and some sports with my friends and enjoy the time with my peers and teachers, but come March, my plans are to accommodate the change. I didn't necessarily hope to rank where I have. However, my goal was just to go into the year enjoying my subjects and appreciating the education that I'm fortunate enough to be receiving.
100% for mathematics. What does that take?
Definitely took quite a few past papers, but definitely the dedication of my teacher, Mr. Moka, was very much appreciated, and it motivated the whole class really to knuckle down and study. But thankfully, Saheti transitioned very quickly onto online, so not much study time was lost, so we were very fortunate in that sense.
Sinazo, a huge challenge with COVID-19 changing the game completely. Just how difficult was it to make those adjustments around the pandemic and how that's affected schooling?
I'd say the most difficult part for me adjusting from in-person learning to online schooling was from having a set schedule with in-person learning and having to almost make up your own schedule with online learning. But I quickly adjusted to that, and that wouldn't have been possible without all the resources and support that we received from our school, Saheti School, and all the teachers there as well.
Yeah, we send a massive, massive kudos to all of the teachers who've had to walk this path as well. Just as challenging for them, I think. George, we have to send you our heartfelt condolences. You must have had the most difficult year, unfortunately, losing your father to COVID-19. How were you able to get through that and still achieve what you've been able to do?
Definitely my family and my friends, as well as my school, but my family and my friends were really pivotal and were a rock for me really to be able to come up out of it and make me stay determined, stay focused, and being online gave me a chance to, readjust my schedule and work at my own hours when I needed time. I could take time. But but I knew I always had people around me that would support me, and I never at no stage felt alone. So that allowed me to stay focused.
As I understand it, you're wanting to study medicine. Has that always been the plan, or has what you've gone through over the last year changed your focus to that?
It's been the plan since I was young, and the pandemic and this last year has actually made me question it quite a bit. Is this really the struggle that I want to be going through as a practitioner? And I've settled on yes, and I think that's something I'm willing to go through to make a change. I know there's lots of changes that need to be made in this community and in South Africa, and I don't think I'm one to change from a political perspective, but if I can make minor small changes to each individual person that I help, that's enough for me.
I have a feeling you guys, all three of you, are going to be at the heart of the start of a ripple effect through this country. We are so proud of what you've been able to achieve, despite all of these ridiculous challenges that you've faced. And we certainly send all of our love to you, George, and your family. But to all of you, thank you so much for inspiring us so much this morning. You all deserve a massive, massive pat on the back for achieving something truly remarkable, despite the challenges we've faced. So congratulations to all of you. Can I get another round of applause for these amazing students? We are sending you so much love, guys. We really are so proud of you, and I know you would have inspired a lot of other students out there going through these similar sort of challenges. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Incredible results. I think there is not a South African that would not admit that this has been one of the most difficult years of our lives, and they have all done it with flying colors. So we certainly applaud them in their efforts.